welcome. My name is Alan, and we are back with more news and politics from around the world. This time for Sunday, November the 17th, 2024. We'll start off here with a good piece of data. Always enjoy me a nice data set or two. The median house price by state. As of August 2024, the median home sales price for a single family in the U.S. was $385,000. So this is kind of varying how much per state we're looking at. The lowest, West Virginia, $167,000. Just because monetarily it's hard to pay for anything there. So yeah. That is the lowest. The highest, Hawaii at $852,000. You have to have almost $1 million to buy a house in Hawaii. Second highest is California at $776,000. Second lowest, $167,000. Louisiana is pretty low. And $191,000. Oh, it's not second though. Right beside it, Mississippi, $184,000. I'd put Louisiana at third. Fourth highest, Massachusetts, I believe, $640,000. So yeah. Although DC is pretty high. $659,000, so it's actually higher than Massachusetts. So it'd be Hawaii, California, DC, 1, 2, 3 for highest, and then West Virginia, Mississippi, and Louisiana for lowest. Now they say $395,000 for Virginia. It's a little lower when you live where I live. Not a lot, but it's still lower. Anyway, next chart we're going to look at here. It's supposed to be lookerstudio.google. This is the U.S. deficit, debt, and growth from 2001 to 2024. You can see in 2001 we had almost no debt. I think the yellow was debt. I can't remember if it was debt or deficit. Budget deficit. So we had what we could pay. We were able to start paying down the debt. And of course, Bush jacks up our military spending. But it's still not overdriven bad. Though by the end of Bush's term, you could see it was rising. It rises our deficit. Our debt does. Although the deficit, Obama lowers it. struggles a little bit at first. 2008, 9, 10. Once you hit 2011, he starts to get it to squeeze down. Though our federal debt continues to rise. So, yeah. Something they don't want to talk about a lot with Clinton. The budget deficit was at zero. We could finally start paying down our freaking debt. But, of course, what'd they do? Cut taxes for the rich. Cause it to go up. It's what fucking Republicans do every goddamn time. But here's the Trump years. The federal deficit starting to grow toward the end of Trump's time. Budget deficit shows he was not a great protector of the budget. He was not great at money. No. And of course, our debt really started to rise after around 2018. Look at it. It's like slow, slow, slow. And then you grab a hold of Trump and it's da-da-da. And of course, Biden couldn't do much to really stop it. He tried to slow it down. It's every year it's lower than Trump's, except for 2021 on budget deficit. His debt, though, still rising. But overall, he did better than what Trump did as far as having a budget that worked. And then over here on the right, this graph, U.S. GDP growth from 2001 through 2024. Now, coming off the Clinton years, George W. Bush, we start out at GDP 0.9, I think it was 0.9, what does it say? Yeah, 0.9. Switch to 1.7, it's going up, 2.8, 3.85. You know, Bush has had his first term, and then it drops to 3.48, drops to 2.79, drops to 2%. And the final year of Bush, GDP growth was only at 0.11%. So the GDP was sliding under Bush into the Great Recession. That's what Obama is given to work with. But first year, it jumps. It's up and down. Up and down. But it is far up from the shithole that W left us in. Getting better. 2015, even better. Have a bad year in 2016. Of course, Trump gets elected in November. And so he gets Obama's economy that was still ragged a bit, but it's actually doing pretty good. 2017, you hit a high of 2018, and here we go down again because Republicans don't know how to handle finances. 2019, it's dropped a bit. And 2020, negative 2.16. The Great Recession was negative 2.58. I'm telling you, they don't know how to handle finances. So 2020, of course, November, Biden won. What happened to the GDP the next year? 6.06. There was an artificial high because it came down just a little bit to 2.51, but after that, it stayed. 2.89, 2.77, yeah. The Republicans always fuck shit up, yet people seem to have this mystical idea that they know how to handle money. No, they're just dumb fucks. Don't keep falling for their stupidity. Now let's look at some images. A B-57 Canberra overlooking a nuclear detonation during Operation Hardtack in the Marshall Islands, January 12th, 1958. So yeah, you have the jet here, B-57 Canberra, and right here's the little nuclear detonation they're watching. Next image, we have Joe Rosenthal and Yevgeny Khalday with their famous photographs. American soldiers raising the flag on Iwo Jima, which is this image on this side, and the banner over the Reichstag, which is this image. The meeting took place in Perpignan in the foothills of the French Pyrenees in 1995. So yeah, this image right here is quite famous, where they're raising the flag. That one is very famous. The Reichstag's not as famous. But yeah. Two World War II photographs showing the defeat of Japan on the left and Germany on the right. But yeah. Now let's look at some articles here. Masked group marches through Ohio neighborhood with swastika flags. Police investigate a masked group who marched through Ohio neighborhood. Governor Mike DeWine of Ohio spoke out after the masked group marched through a Columbus neighborhood carrying Nazi flags. Police investigating the incident. No arrests have been made. You know you can file with the government to do those marches, but you don't want to risk your names being known. Yeah, go screw yourselves. From the AP, officer responding to domestic disturbance fires weapon. Woman and child are dead in the Missouri suburb. So they call for help from police over a domestic disturbance. The officer arrives, fires his weapon, and now a woman and child are dead in the Missouri suburb. Independence Police Chief Adam Dustman talks to reporters after an officer fired a weapon while responding to a domestic disturbance at an apartment complex. Woman and child are dead after the officer fired a weapon while responding to the domestic disturbance at an apartment in the Kansas City suburb of Independence, Missouri. Heartbreaking is how Independence Police Chief Adam Dustman described it at a news conference. He said the woman was armed with a knife when officers responded Thursday afternoon to a 911 call about a possible assault. Dustman said there were attempts to de-escalate the situation and that a mental health provider was embedded with the unit, but such providers aren't equipped to deal with armed suspects and didn't engage the woman before the situation escalated, he said. He said one officer, a long-tenured veteran in law enforcement, ultimately discharged a firearm. As a result of that encounter, it resulted in 2 fatalities, one with the armed female and one to a child. Asked whether the child was shot by police or injured before officers arrived, he said he didn't have that information and noted the investigation is ongoing. Oh, yay. Also, from the AP, cruise company offers a 4-year escape cruise from the Trump presidency. Oh, goodness. Yeah. Trump's so hated in this country, they know this is something they could possibly offer. Florida Cruise Company offering a 4-year escape to the to Americans upset by the results of the November 5th presidential election. The Skip Forward program allows guests to travel the world, visiting more than 425 ports in 140 countries. Yeah, Trump's a hated shit. It shows you how fucking hated he was. But apparently, they hated fucking Biden more. Kamala. Yeah. Anyway, this is from ABC 7 Eyewitness News. Las Vegas police killed the victim of a home invasion who called 911 for help. Again, there's always going to be someone who dies, and a lot of the times it's the person who calls the police. The lesson is, don't call the fucking police. Oh, fuck. Let's see. Las Vegas police are investigating a shooting in which an officer killed a victim of a home invasion. Not the invader. The person whose home was invaded. Officers showed up in the home and found a man struggling with a woman over a knife. An officer opened fire and struck the man, killing him at the scene. Only later did they discover the man who was killed lived at the home and was struggling to fend off a woman who had broken into his home. The man and the woman knew each other and had been in a relationship. Of course. Scorned woman comes in angry, breaks in. Police, of course, being dumb fucks, thinking it could only be the man who's dangerous, shoots and kills the guy. From NPR, in a first, Biden allows Ukraine to strike Russia with U.S. long-range missiles or long-range weapons. For the first time, Biden has given Ukraine the green light to use powerful American long-range weapons for strikes inside Russia, a U.S. official told NPR on Sunday. The missiles, known as the Army Tactical Missile System, ATACMS, can travel about 190 miles, and their use would enable Ukrainian troops to strike Russians' weapons stockpiles. logistical centers and airfields, which could help stop Russian forces from advancing on the battlefield and attacking Ukrainian cities. The U.S. official, who wasn't authorized to speak publicly about the decision, said the U.S. is allowing Ukraine to use the weapons to target in and around Kursk, the same region where the 10,000 North Korean troops were recently deployed, according to the U.S. and its allies. Look, as far as I'm concerned, Ukraine's the one trying to defend their territory, defend their land. Russia has no right to it. I don't care who had it back in the 1980s. I honestly don't give a shit. These people have been living here now for the last 30 to 40 years. And Russia is just showing aggression. And they need to back the fuck down. I don't like the idea of using such weapons because there's always the threat that Russia could use tactical nukes. Though using such weapons would also open up the right to use tactical nukes against Russia. But yeah. Nothing, this is just, no one's going to win until someone can have the goddamn balls to come to the table and have a fucking conversation. This is from 7 News, Miami. Good Samaritan rescues a 3-year-old boy trapped in a burning car in Lakeland, though a girl is killed in the fire. Good Samaritan shared the terrifying moments when he tried to rescue 2 children from a fiery crash in a Lakeland neighborhood, but only one would make it out alive. Anthony Slater is recovering in a hospital with severe burns on his arms. He said he jumped into action Thursday when he heard a father's desperate pleas to save his children inside a burning car. According to the Polk County Sheriff's Office, the crash took place in a wooded area near the intersection of Broadway Street and Lake Parker Drive East. Slater said that he was able to reach a 3-year-old boy who was trapped in the back seat of the white Kia sedan. It took me a while to get him out, and as I got him out, I noticed that there was another little girl in the car seat, fumbling around unconscious. Slater said he did everything he could do to save her after she regained consciousness. She was crying, and I was talking to her, trying to calm her, and I had to leave her. Meanwhile, neighbors called 911 after they heard the desperate pleas for help. That sucks. I'm glad he was able to save one of them, but it always sucks when something like that happens. WDBJ7. WDBJ is a more regional local. It's in Roanoke. It's not real close, but it's still just up the road. Murder suspect with dead ankle monitor allegedly committed second homicide while on bond. An Alabama man out on bond for murder is accused of committing another homicide. Investigators in Mobile say Nyan Sanders shot Joseph Evans Jr. at the Dolphin Gate Apartments on Monday night. Nyan Sanders allegedly let the battery in his ankle monitor die before committing the second crime. Now the private electronic ankle monitoring company is under fire again. Presiding Circuit Judge Wesley Pipes identified the company as AcuPoint and said there have been issues in the past. That's never good. Alright. This one is from The Guardian. The appointment of Robert F. Kennedy has horrified public health experts. Here are his 3 most dangerous ideas. Written by Devi Sitar. She is a professor who is chair of the Global Health, Public Health at the University of Edinburgh. Okay. He has anti-vaxxer views, believes the benefits of raw milk, and anti-pharmaceutical conspiracy theories. Yeah. There's a lot of the bullshit that he still pushes, like, vaccines cause autism. No. No, they don't. He'd be the type of guy who would tell Dr. Salk, I don't think your polio vaccine's a good idea. It could hurt us. Drinking raw milk. You can drink it, but there's also a bad chance for something serious to happen. There's a reason the process of pasteurization was developed, because boiling milk kills certain bacteria and viruses that may be inside it. God, Kennedy's so goddamn stupid, but people like, he's so smart. Anti-pharmaceutical conspiracy theories. Look, I'm not a fan of Big Pharma. But these are medicines that are not created by Big Pharma. They're usually tested by groups in colleges or run by the government, and then the companies get the patents to make money off of it. That's where a majority of our medicine comes from. It's not some big cabal or conspiracy. Yeah, RFK Jr.'s just a fucking moron. Also from The Guardian, Scientific American editor steps down after calling Trump supporters fascists and bigoted. Laura Helmuth, who had led the magazine since 2020, wrote an expletive-filled social media post on election night. I can't blame her. When he and what many of his supporters do are seen over and over, it's kind of hard to disagree with her. And the editor-in-chief of Scientific American, the U.S.'s oldest magazine, has announced her resignation after a series of online posts in which she called Trump supporters fascists and bigots. In the post on Blue Sky on Thursday, Laura Helmuth, who was originally appointed as the magazine's editor-in-chief in 2020, said, "I've decided to leave Scientific American after an exciting 4.5 years as editor-in-chief. I'm going to take the time to think about what comes next and go birdwatching." Helmuth's resignation comes after a series of expletive-filled posts on the 5th of November, election night, in which she criticized those who voted for Trump. In her since-deleted post on Blue Sky, Helmuth wrote, "Every 4 years I remember why I left Indiana, where I grew up, and remember why I respect the people who stayed and are trying to make it less racist and sexist. The moral arc of the universe isn't going to bend itself." She went on to add, "Solidarity to everybody whose meanest, dumbest, most bigoted high school classmates are celebrating early results because fuck them to the moon and back. I apologize to younger voters that my Gen X is so full of fucking fascists." Hey, I don't blame her. I mean, quite honestly, like I said a couple days back on another one of these news and politics videos about electing Trump, why the fuck are you so stupid, America? From The Verge, a study found that X's algorithm now loves two things: Republicans and Elon Musk. Researchers' findings suggest X made platform-level changes to boost Musk and other conservatives' posts when he endorsed Donald Trump. Of course! From The Hill, Montana enshrines abortion access into the state constitution. Again, many of these Republican dumb fucks think it's the right thing to do to put in the banning of abortion, but citizens don't fucking agree. They feel they should have the fucking choice. This is from WashU Education, McKelvey School of Engineering. Novel electrobiodiesel, a more efficient, cleaner option to existing alternatives. Joshua Yuan, Susie Dye, and colleagues at Washington University and Texas A&M create biodiesel with electrocatalysis and bioconversion. Researchers in the labs of Joshua Yuan in the McKelvey School of Engineering and Susie Dye in the University of Missouri used electrocatalysis catalysis of carbon dioxide to turn carbon dioxide into intermediates that are then converted by microbes into lipids or fatty acids and ultimately became biodiesel feedstock. The process is much more efficient than photosynthesis and uses significantly less land than soybean-based biodiesel. The vehicles fueled by diesel led to substantial carbon emissions that are challenging to decarbonize. In 2022, diesel fuel made up about 1/4 of total U.S. transportation carbon diesel emissions and about 1/10 of total energy-related carbon dioxide emissions, according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration. See, this is what we should be doing. We should be looking into things like this. Stuff that is much more efficient, much more capable. But no. Dumb fucks are like, I want to hold on to my profit, even though I know it fucks up the environment and shit. And we're going to look at some images here. A million distant suns, each a mystery beyond our reach. So yeah, this is a photo of space. All the stars you see, remember, they are each a sun and probably have planets revolving around them. Every little dot you see, they are a sun. That's why I keep trying to explain to people, space is immensely vast. And from what we can understand, may still be growing. But yeah, another image, the Crescent Nebula from a backyard telescope. The Crescent Nebula is a cloud of gas and dust formed by a dying star and powerful stellar winds. It's 5,000 light years away in the Cygnus constellation. Nebula was formed when the fast stellar wind from the Wolf-Rayet star WR 136 HD 192163 collided with and energized a slower wind that the star released around 250,000 to 400,000 years ago when it became a red giant. So yeah. Just the things in space that we could see. And there's still so much we can't even look at. Comet Suchinshan Atlas. I probably butchered that name. With fall colors of Letchworth State Park. Yeah, you can see the trees and everything in the background. And here's the comet. But yeah, beautiful. You can always see more if you're further into the woods with less electrical lights or lights, period. Because it's what is known as light pollution and makes it harder to see stars and the effects of space. But this is what you could see if we didn't have all that. Image of the Orion Nebula. Again, space, dust, and gas. Almost kind of looks like an eyeball with the lens and the actual colored area, the pupil in the middle. The Rosette Nebula from a backyard telescope. Photo they took of the beautiful Rosette Nebula NGC 2237 with my Stellar View SVX 102 TR telescope, and ZWO 2600 millimeter camera. I used Antilia 3mm SHO filters to show the bright colors from hydrogen, oxygen, and sulfur gases. Isn't space incredible? Yeah, this constellation is 5,000 light years away in the constellation, the nebula itself, in the constellation Monoceros, the unicorn, Monoceros, one horn is what it literally breaks down to. The nebula is huge, about 130 light years wide. In the middle, young super hot stars light up the gas and shake the nebula. Yeah. Younger stars are on the interior. But yeah. 130 light years wide. Remember, a light year is the distance light can travel in the period of 1 year. So if it's 130, it's the distance light travels in 130 years. So remember, we're still measuring distance, not time. Because light travels immensely fast, but it's still limited. So, yeah. From this end to this end would be the distance light would travel in 130 years. Now, and this image, supermoon rising over the Earth's shadow on its own atmosphere in the Gobi Desert. Yeah, I love shots like this. This is beautiful. When you get a nice big full moon that's so superbly bright, it lights up the landscape. That can be awesome. Here's from Middle East Eye. Pope Francis calls for investigation into the genocide in Gaza. In a new book, the Catholic leader says accusations of Israel's homicide in Gaza from experts should be looked into. Thank you. Although there's a lot of Christians now who don't give a shit about the Pope just because he actually speaks of peace and kindness. This Pope's one of the better ones. Still far from innocent of what he's allowed to go on in the church. But he's one of the better ones, at least. Now, let's watch some videos. Okay. Powerful speech by Irish MP Thomas Gould, damning Netanyahu and Israel to burn in hell for what they're doing to Gaza.
When you look at the photographs and the pictures and the videos that come from there, and you hear the screams of people screaming as the Israeli government burned men, women and children alive. They burned them alive. And the world stands by while 15,000 children are being slaughtered. 35,000 men and women and children. And it's unbelievable, the genocide that's happening. A child with no head, a child with no head, and the Israeli government say it's a mistake, a mistake. I hope that Benjamin Netanyahu burns in hell the same way them children and their families burned. I hope him and his generals and the far-right government in Israel, that when their God finally brings him to the resting place, that he deserves to burn in hell. Because what is happening now, not alone is it apartheid, not alone is it atrocity and a war crime, it's just horrific. It's just horrific what they're doing. Where is their soul? Where is the soul of the Israeli people that allows their government to do this to children? Where is their humanity? The Israeli people, the Jewish people, after everything the Jewish people have suffered down over the decades, that they would allow their government to do this to other human beings. Human beings. But in the eyes of Netanyahu and this far-right Israeli government, Palestinians are human beings. But today here, the Irish people say, we recognise Palestine. We recognise that they are human beings, just like every one of us. Shame on Israel. Shame on what they've done, and will never be forgotten.
Preach on it, brother. Preach on it. Absolutely. Woman attacks a Palestinian family in a Panera in Downers Grove, Illinois, for wearing a pro-Palestine hoodie. Fucking gnats are getting in my way.
Stop. Stop.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, no, I'm going to call the police.
Call the police.
Call the police.
Stop. You're going to bring the woman?
No.
Get away from my wife. What the hell is your problem? Get away. Get away from me. Go, go, go. What's your problem? Can you get away from my wife? I'll punch you. Get away from me.
I'm going to fight you.
Punch me.
Okay.
What the hell? You okay?
Fucking Karens. I don't think any of them understand the stupidity that they are showing. How big of an ass they really are. Former Whirlpool exec files a $10 million lawsuit against Michigan State Police, alleging that two troopers conspired to plant drugs and arrested him for intoxication despite passing several sobriety tests during the traffic stop. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that's what's fucking happened. Because the police continue to show they aren't here to help you.
Yeah, I had a stash in here somewhere. I don't even know where it's at. For a black man in a situation like that, if you make the wrong move, you say the wrong thing, you're dead.
Dakari Lariat filing a $10 million lawsuit against the Michigan State Police, accusing two officers of violating his rights and the conspiracy to plant drugs on him during a traffic stop in Benton Harbor back on April 10th.
Here to help you. Some, don't get me wrong, there are the few who are good. But
you know, I had a stash in here somewhere. I don't even know where it's at.
Lariat says that footage you just saw shows the troopers' conspiracy to plant the drugs
there are
the night of his traffic stop.
More often than not, it seems like most of them
Is it a
are
quota?
fast.
I have no idea what their motivation is.
The night of the stop, he says a trooper accused him of smelling like something fruity, gave him lengthy sobriety tests, sent him to a clinic where his test came back clean, and then sent him to jail anyway. Lariat says that while in jail, the police took it even further, claiming that he was hiding a bag of drugs inside of himself.
That looks like a bag of drugs. Confess now, or you're going to face a trafficking charge as well.
Lariat says he had to publicly use the bathroom to prove it, and it was humiliating. He didn't have drugs.
I've never even been arrested. I'm a corporate executive. I worked for Whirlpool for 3 years.
After Lariat's release from custody, the DUI charges were dropped. Months later, he discovered the footage of the alleged conspiracy to plant drugs and an alleged social media page for one of the troopers.
He's transphobic. He's homophobic. He's racist. He's misogynistic. I don't know why this man was on the force.
Both troopers still working. The state police sent a statement reading in part, MSP is committed to unbiased policing and takes any allegations of misconduct seriously. At no time did troopers attempt to plant narcotics on Mr. Lariat or in his vehicle. The term stash referred to the troopers' inability to locate his supply of preliminary breath test straws, which are required for administering a test. MSP initiated an internal affairs investigation. As it pertains to the traffic stop, the investigation concluded it was conducted in accordance with department policy and legal standards. Sexist, racist, and homophobic remarks are not in line with the values of MSP. The allegation about these personal social media posts is part of the internal affairs investigation, which is still underway. The troopers have a month to respond to the lawsuit. Reporting in Detroit, Scott Olchek, Fox 2
plant
News.
shit. The fucking murders they commit. Yeah. Fuck the police. Shutting down the Israel has a right to exist argument. Francesca Albanese.
You believe that Israel has a right to exist?
Israel does exist. Israel is a recognized member of the United Nations. Besides this, there is not such a thing in international law like a right of a state to exist. Does Italy has a right to exist? Italy exists. Now, if tomorrow Italy and France want to merge and become Ita France, fine. This is not up to us. What is enshrined in international law is the right of a people to exist. So the state is there, the state of Israel is there, is protected as a member of the United Nations. Does this justify the erasure of another people?
Nope.
Hell no. Not 75 years ago, not 57 years ago, surely not today. Where is the protection of the Palestinian people from erasure, from annexation, from illegal occupation and apartheid? This is what we need to discuss.
Absolutely. You get them. You get them. Tell them. Preach on, sister. Preach on. Now, we saw the article earlier about these Nazis marching through masked in Columbus, Ohio. Here's a video. They're talking about it.
I'm in Short North, downtown Columbus right now, and there are literally Nazis shouting the N-word, shouting profanities about Jewish people, walking the streets right now with guns and a megaphone.
are you? Why y'all hiding y'all's faces? Why you hiding your faces? Don't hide your face. Don't hide your face.
Because they're chicken shits.
Keep going. Don't stop. Where they going? Look at them, scared to show their faces. There's some racial shit, bro. Y'all done? Y'all done?
Chicken shits.
Yeah, come do that shit at nighttime. Come do that shit at nighttime. Come back at nighttime. You hear this shit, bro? No, don't go. They got guns on them, bro. You hear me? Bro.
If you're gonna march,
come back and do that shit. I ain't scared to die. I got work.
Don't cover your faces.
I hope you die.
Fucking show you're here to actually stand by your values. Nah, you're all chicken shits. Go fuck yourself.
Oh my God.
Fucking Nazis.
I thought I heard him.
This is what Trump's election did last time, and it's going to make it, it'll probably be worse this time. Officer Alexander Bookman fatally shoots homeowner who called police for help after woman broke into his house. Officer fired 5 bullets after victim fell 5 more bullets. Is this the one where they were talking about? Because we looked at an article where it was the guy called for police and the police came in and shot him when he was struggling with a woman who was the one that broke into his fucking house.
I'm on my snail 20s to 30s, size 10 medium build. Got spread beanie, wearing a black sweatshirt and dark colored pants.
Hey, they said they made entry. We got to go in there.
Yeah, we have to go in. Hey, one if you want, we have our broken window and break them. Kick it!
Metro Police! Metro Police! Hey, drop the knife! Drop the knife! Put your hands up!
As you can see in this still, both individuals appear to be struggling with a knife. Also, as you can see, both individuals are on the floor and one person is still holding a knife. The 2 individuals involved in the officer-involved shooting are identified as Brandon Durham. He was a 43-year-old black male adult, 6 feet tall, weighing 185 pounds. The second individual involved in the officer-involved shooting is Alejandro Boudreau. She's a 31-year-old black female adult, 5'9", 220 pounds. There were 2 knives involved in this incident. You can see a picture of the knives to my left. The following are Alejandro's charges: 1 count of home invasion with a deadly weapon, 1 count of assault with a deadly weapon, domestic violence, 1 count of child abuse, neglect, or endangerment, and 1 count of performance of act in willful or wanton disregard of safety of persons resulting in death. The detail of the officer-involved shooting are as follows. On November 12, 2024 at 12:40 a.m., LVMPD received a report of 2 subjects shooting into a residence located in the 6900 block of Wine River Drive. The person reporting the shooting was identified as Brandon Durham. Durham told the call taker that the subjects were attempting to enter his residence and that he was inside his residence with his 15-year-old daughter. Durham then stated that the suspects had entered his home through both the front and back doors of his residence and that Durham would be locking himself in the bathroom. Officer Bookman, along with 2 other patrol officers, arrived. Immediately upon arrival, the officers noticed that there was damage to multiple vehicles in the driveway. They also noticed that there was damage to windows of the house, and they also heard screaming and banging from inside the house. Officer Bookman kicked open the front door, and was the first officer to make entry. While inside, officers continued to hear screaming and banging. They immediately directed their search towards an L-shaped hallway. As officers turned the corner in the hallway, they observed Durham and Alejandra entangled in a physical confrontation. They were at the threshold of a bedroom. Both individuals appear to be struggling over a knife in the doorway. Officers Bookman issued multiple commands to drop the knife, and then they discharged his firearm. Then he discharged his firearm, striking Durham and causing him and Alejandra to fall to the ground. Officers took Alejandra into custody, and they attempted life-saving measures for Durham. Unfortunately, despite those efforts, Durham was pronounced deceased at scene.
No fucking wonder. Bam. Bam, 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 bam. What? I'm laughing because it's so goddamn stupid. This kind of shit should never happen, and yet more cop bullshit over and over and over and over. Fucking hell. I'm wondering if that ain't the same with the knife. Yeah. It was this story. Missouri Independence. So yeah. That's just fucking so goddamn ridiculous. Post been removed. Okay. Thousands march in New Zealand, Hickory, over controversial treaty bill. Remember, I showed the video where they were dancing the haka while in the Legislative House because there were those trying to change the treaty that the Maori had with New Zealanders. So, if you don't know, Maori are the indigenous peoples of New Zealand.
The March for the Treaty of Waitangi. In Māori, Hikoi mo te tiriti. The movement today stopping traffic on the streets of the North Island city of Rotorua. 10,000 turned out to show their opposition to a bill brought by ACT, a minor right-wing party in the ruling coalition. The bill proposes to define treaty principles and assist in their interpretation. ACT party leader David Seymour saying its purpose is to give all New Zealanders equality before the law, but opponents believe the bill undermines Māori rights. The hikoi began in the country's far north on Monday and reached Auckland on Wednesday, before the debate was amplified yesterday when New Zealand's youngest Member of Parliament, 22-year-old Hana Rofiti Maipi Clark, ripped up the bill and led her colleagues in a haka, causing Parliament to be briefly suspended. Although the bill isn't expected to pass, it's opposed by Prime Minister Christopher Luxon. It has galvanised Maori communities to launch the biggest protest in living memory, united in a desire to defend a unique instrument protecting Indigenous rights and sovereignty in New Zealand. The Hikoi continues south and is expected to reach the capital, Wellington, on Tuesday. Alexandra Jones, SBS World News.
Absolutely. Get them, guys. Next one. Rashida Tlaib calls out the Biden administration after the Gaza aid deadline passes. Yeah, Biden's a shithead. I fucking despise Trump. But Biden's no peach.
I want to talk about, quote, Biden's 30-day humanitarian deadline. The Biden administration has continued to ignore reports from its own experts, international human rights organizations, and the United Nations that the Israeli government is blocking humanitarian aid into Gaza in violation of U.S. and international law. ProPublica has published a detailed account of how the U.S. State Department submitted report after report to Congress that contradicted the findings of the department's own experts and those of other agencies. The Israeli government is using starvation as a weapon of war. Look at this picture. It is evident that blocking U.S. humanitarian aid is clear that it's happening and that it is a blatant violation of Section 220I of the Foreign Assistance Act. In a letter to the Israeli government on October 13, Secretary Blinken acknowledged that the Israeli government is violating U.S. law by blocking aid and gave them 30 days to comply. The letter demanded 350 trucks to be allowed into Gaza per day. And guess what? According to Israel's own data and own government, only 57 trucks were allowed into Gaza per day in October, if that's even true. And this is the lowest amount of aid into Gaza in a year. On November 1st, top United Nations officials said the entire Palestinian population in northern Gaza is an imminent risk of dying from disease, famine, and violence. This week, Mr. Speaker, Secretary Blinken exposed his lie by announcing that there will be no change to any policy despite admitting that the Israeli government has still failed to comply with all of their demands. Secretary Blinken has continued to lie to Congress and should resign. U.S. law is very clear. No nation blocking U.S. humanitarian assistance can receive U.S. weapons. The Biden administration cannot pick and choose when they comply with our own laws. Children are forced to eat pet food and bug-infested flour. Look at this and do not turn your back on, again, being complicit to this war crime. But Blinken says there's no need to change our own policy. Shameful.
Fuck Blinken. Fuck Biden. See, Rashida Tlaib is correct, and she speaks out. She is the one that gets censured. It's the evil fucks who want to help Israel commit a genocide, who are considered the good people. Fuck you. Finally, last video we have to end everything off. Jewish Rabbi Yisrael David Weiss denounces Israel and stands with Palestine.
No. With the help of the Almighty, my name is Rabbi Yisrael David Weiss from the Turei Karta International, Jews United Against Zionism. I am speaking here from New York in the voice of my brothers and sisters in Al-Quds, in Jerusalem, who are suffering under the occupation, the Nakba, and we are crying and hurting with the detainees who are having a hunger strike presently in the the prison camps of the illegal occupation, the Zionist state of Israel. From day one, our rabbis have opposed the existence of the state. From day one, we have pleaded with the United Nations that the Torah forbids us a state. From day one until today, we have thousands and hundreds of thousands demonstrating in Jerusalem and New York, and we are being murdered, we are being attacked, and we are being arrested in the Holy Land. We are being held as criminals because we oppose the existence. We cry and hurt for the suffering of the Palestinian people. Inshallah, God should bring a speedy end to the occupation in its entirety and a free Palestine. Assalamu alaikum.
Peace be unto you, my friend. Thank you for taking this brave stance and actually speaking out. Because so many who do get treated as evil. But yeah. We'll go ahead and end this episode here. Thank y'all for sticking with me. I hope you enjoyed the video. Anyway, as always, educate thyself, think, read, study, learn. Someone tells you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite their sources. I'll be putting my links and sources in the description box below the video. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, later.